Smite 2 is an excellent sequel. It successfully takes Smite 1 and brings the game to a whole new engine, updating many of the core gameplay systems to a 2025 standard, while maintaining the gameplay, art style, and, well, fun of the original. Which is why it brings me absolutely no pleasure to say that the game might be dead on arrival. I have been playing Smite 1 since the open beta in 2013, so I wish I could stand here and tell you that the game is perfect and the future is bright and everything looks marvelous. But that would be a lie. Like global peace or Mohammed bin Salem is not ruining Formula 1. So, how did we get here?
Weird.
I'm Spider-Man!
If you say so, champ.
I can climb walls!
Uh-huh. Very cool, buddy.
Before Fortnite, Warzone, and PUBG Battle Royale games took over the gaming scene, you had the hero shooter, with games like Paladins, and of course, the Big Papa Overwatch. And before that, we enter the era of the MOBA. The early 2010s were dominated by these games. In 2013, the Dota 2 International had a prize pool of $2.87 million, which was completely unheard of for esports at the time. And the League of Legends Season 3 World Championships that year, the final drew 32 million unique viewers. For reference, Game 7 of the NBA Finals that year drew 26 million unique viewers. And just a fun little side note, since SKT and the Heat were in their respective finals that year, that means that LeBron James is the faker of basketball, not the other way around.
Tries to clean it up for Ryu. Oh, look at the cleanse, look at the moves! Faker, what was that? Faker with a huge play, the QSS!
Anyway, while these two were clearly head and shoulders above the competition, as with any gaming trend, there were about 5,010,000 knockoffs that came out around the same time. Games like Infinite Crisis, Guardians of Middle-earth, so many games you've never heard of, and among these, frankly, imitations was Smite. But Smite did something different. It took the MOBA formula, which is typically played from a top-down perspective, and it shifted the camera down to a third-person point of view, much more akin to something like Gears of War, which was much more familiar to gamers at the time. It also did something neat by having all of the characters in the game be gods from real-life mythology. Zeus, Thor, Odin, Mercury, Aphrodite, etc., etc. And this was what brought it success. Smite looked at a genre that was really hard to get into, and it said, we're going to go after the casual players. A much more familiar control scheme and point of view, and crucially, it's a control scheme that works on a controller. As far as I know, Smite is pretty much the only successful MOBA on consoles. It also placed a much greater emphasis on alternate game modes. Sure, the game has your typical MOBA, 3 lanes, minions, jungle, etc., which is called Conquest in Smite. But it also has Arena, which is a big circle, literally an arena. It's 5v5, it's constant action and team fighting right in the middle. It's a lot of fun, and much easier to understand than your typical MOBA thing. You just beat each other up in the middle. It also has Joust. Joust is 3v3, and while it does have your normal towers and minions, it is in one lane. 3v3 in one lane. And Joust is my personal favorite game mode, by far. It is the one I have spent the most time playing, because the strategy and drafting that are important in normal MOBA stuff is kind of compressed into a faster-paced, more kind of bite-sized mode that matches take like 20 minutes instead of like 40. I like it a lot. There's a lot more action. It's really fun. So while clearly not on the same level of popularity as Dota and League of Legends, Smite managed to establish itself as a pretty clear kind of third, like number 3 on the totem pole there. And it succeeded. It was a successful game for a long time. Frankly, any live service game that manages to last over a decade is a success in my book. Father Time comes for us all though, and eventually the age of Smite really started to get to it. The game was built on the Unreal 3 engine, an engine that came out in 2004 and was already antiquated by the time Smite officially released in 2014. As the dev team tried to do increasingly fancy things, make new and interesting mechanics, the technological limitations started to really drag them down. Apparently, it also became really hard for them to just find devs with Unreal 3 experience, so the decision was made. They were going to take Smite and port it to Unreal Engine 5, and Smite 2 is born.
Oh, they just walked past her? Alright, well, she's getting the Phoenix for free, I guess.
Alright. Jesus Christ. Put it in a montage. That guy just got demolished.
Put it in a montage. Shut the fuck up.
It's a pretty ambitious project, I can't lie. Taking this game with like 12 years of development behind it and trying to port the whole thing to an entirely new engine cannot be easy, especially since Smite was a game with a whole lot of spaghetti code in it. But it's something that has to be done. And it was a rough start. The alpha came out last summer. I got an invite, and I played like 2 matches before I uninstalled it. There was like 15 or 20 gods in the game, none of whom I really enjoyed. And more importantly than that, the game was terrible. It ran horribly, it was very buggy and unoptimized, and it was... I don't even know how to put it into words, it didn't feel like Smite. So, I didn't play it for more than like an hour. Fast forward about 6 months, and open beta launches. I didn't even know it launched until about 3 weeks after it did, because, we'll get to the marketing in a minute. But my friend, who's even more into the game than I am, told me about it, so I was like, oh, cool, I'll install that, and we'll give it a whirl. And I'm pleased to report that the game is so much better than it was in the alpha. Holy crap. The performance is much better, everything is smoother, more responsive, they've upped the number of gods tremendously. I think there was 20 available in the alpha, and it's like 50 something now, and it feels like Smite, but prettier now, which was the objective. Now, the game still has problems, of course. While the performance is much better, it's still not perfect. There can be some stuttering and frame issues in moments of high intensity. There's still some bugs here and there. Although, to be fair, Smite 1 was a game held together with glue and duct tape, so kind of comes with the territory, doesn't it? I think the biggest issue I've seen people complain about online is on Reddit and at the internet at large is the matchmaking. To be honest, I haven't noticed a difference. It's bad. It's terrible. The matchmaking is horrendous. However, Smite 1 had terrible matchmaking. So, that is something that me and my friends have always complained about with Smite, is just how terrible the quality of our teammates and the enemies are, and it feels like you rarely get a well-balanced match. So that it's exactly the same. Good old Smite.
Is Blue Buff on Yamoja worth it? Oh, he's just dead.
Kate?
Ooh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, he just completely missed his ult.
You surprised about this?
I mean, a little. It's Poseidon ult. It's like half the map.
Exactly. It's only half the map.
Oh, he's dead again. There's just nothing I can do here. I don't have ult.
5.
And he's dead again. Maybe he should stop walking up to the Hercules.
I don't know if that's physically possible for him.
Like, oh my god. I was watching the Hercules. He had time to like jiggle around and like line up the flip.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sure
it's
he did.
crazy. Apparently, I should hit the portal. Oh, he's dead.
Oh, and 8.
Ugh, what a terrible day to have eyes.
Yeah.
Hey, he did over 3,000 damage though, Connor.
Thank God.
This is Phoenix Feather. It costs 2,400 gold, gives 65 magical protections, 275 health, and when you press your G key, it will instantly heal you for 300 plus 30% missing health and deal some true damage in an area around you. You might have two thoughts. First of all, whoa, Smite has active items now? Crazy. Actually, if you play other MOBAs, it's probably not that crazy, but for Smite, it's crazy. They've added active items. They never had that before, so it's very cool. You might also think, wow, that seems kind of good. It is. First, I just want to say that I play this game on PC. So a problem that I kind of thought of is, I don't know how this works on controller. Suddenly having like 3 more buttons to press. Is that weird? Like I'm asking, I haven't tried it on a controller. If you play the game on console, let me know. Is it awkward or have they figured out a way to do it well? I'm interested. My major concern though, is that the power level of these seems to be all over the place. Now, obviously, it's a live service game. It's subject to balance changes at any moment. But they are all over the place right now. Clearly, they don't know what they're doing with the active items. This is Lierninian's bow. It is the new Hunter anti-heal item. It doesn't do anything on its own, but the active shoots an arrow in a straight line that does 130% basic attack damage, can crit, and applies anti-heal, 40% anti-heal for 4 seconds, on a 20-second cooldown, which means at best, you're getting 25% uptime on your anti-heal, but also you can miss it. Or, you could buy Ruinous Ankh, which gives you a bunch of stats, and passively applies anti-heal to everybody in your postcode all the time. Whereas the Phoenix Feather I mentioned a minute ago is completely broken. I buy it on almost every character because it basically makes you immortal. It's like, okay, are there any League players watching this? Do you remember Tank Echo? It turns every character into Tank Echo. It is a nightmare to deal with. 30% missing HP on a character with 4,000 health it's so much health. It's insane. I'm sure it will be fixed. It's not like Smite has ever had any balance issues that they've failed to fix for years on end. Smite has 130 playable gods. Smite 2 has 50. Now, you might notice that 50 is a smaller number than 130. And you'd be correct, because it takes a long time to port the gods from Unreal 3 to Unreal 5. You have to redo all of the art, which is fantastic, by the way. The game looks great. The characters have all the new characters, all the new old characters have gotten a facelift, which for some of them is sorely needed. Thor went from looking like actual plastic man to looking pretty good. He looks cool now, which is nice because Thor's my main. He has been for a long time, so it feels good to have some new visual effects on him. Thank you, Hi-Rez, for that. At the moment, they're porting over 1 god per week, and then they're releasing an entirely brand new god every couple months or so. And the brand new gods have been very cool so far. I think there's only 3 so far, but it feels like they are really taking advantage of the new engine and all the new technical capabilities they have, like Aladdin. Yes, Aladdin is in the video game. His ultimate, he like traps both of you inside of Genie's lamp, and it's like a little kind of combat arena for both of you, but then other gods can enter and fight it out as well. It's really cool, and it's something I feel they never would have been able to pull off in the first game.
What on earth?
Join the fight.
This is the weirdest ultimate in the game. What's up?
Hey. Oh, it's Mordekaiser ult.
Yeah, except I can bring in my friends, I guess.
Yeah.
They're experimenting, and I think they're doing a good job so far. Balance, obviously, the balance is a bit, again, all over the place, but that's fine. The game is brand new, and it was never a super well-balanced game to begin with. So what is the problem? I've been standing here for however many minutes talking about all of this cool stuff that the game is doing, everything it's doing right. So why did I say it's dead on arrival? Everything outside of the game has been a disaster. Hi-Rez, the company that makes the game, has been undergoing wave after wave of layoffs. They're laying off devs who've been there for like a decade plus at this point. They put out a statement on Reddit, which, hold on. Here's the I'm using my phone to record, okay? Shut up. Though Smite 2 has been successful, despite every effort, it hasn't reached the levels it needed to financially support a team of Titan Forge's previous size. There is still hope for growth and improvement, but unless action was taken to align our costs and revenue, it was extremely likely we would have run out of money and closed down entirely. So that's concerning. I will say, first of all, I appreciate the honesty. They just flat out say, it sucks, but we had to fire people, or we would have had to shut down the company. No, burying it in a bunch of corpo speak. It's they just put it out in plain text, which is nice. However, the message they are putting out in plain text is, again, concerning. Saying that the game has not met expectations is never a good sign, but it sounds like they had really high expectations for this big launch where they were going to attract all kinds of new players, and that didn't really happen. Basically, just the Smite 1 players moved to Smite 2, and that was kind of it. There wasn't this great big revitalized interest in the game, which is a shame because I think the game is really fun. And that brings me to the marketing. The marketing of this game was kind of a disaster. I didn't know the game came out like an open beta until weeks after it did. And I'm somebody who was playing the game as recently as like a couple months ago, very actively. So for me to not know about it, how is anybody who hasn't played it before going to know about it? That's not good. Apparently they paid a bunch of streamers to like play the game, and I do not have a marketing degree, but streamers just seem like a terrible way to advertise things, especially like a game. Paying a streamer to play a game for a couple hours, I don't know if that's going to get anybody to play the game. Like, the vast majority of people watch a streamer because they're playing a game they already like, or they like the streamer and don't care what they're playing. I'm sure it'll grab a couple people, but it feels like the only way streamers have like a big long-term impact on a game's sales is when it kind of becomes like the trend, like a Among Us or Lethal Company, when like a bunch of streamers pick it up for a long period of time. Then it can absolutely blow the game into the stratosphere, but just paying a handful of streamers to play it for a day or two, I don't know what that's going to achieve for you. YouTubers, though, I hear are much better for advertising, so Hi-Rez, hit me up. Anyway, I wanted to talk about Smite 2 today because I think the game is very fun and I hope it does well. It is free, check it out if you want, it's in open beta now. I don't know when the official release date is, but let's be real, when a game comes out in open beta, the game is out. I don't know why they even bother calling it beta, but if you've played the game so far, let me know what you think about it. If you haven't, give it a shot. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I think it's kind of neat. So, thank you for watching. Goodbye.